U.S. President Joe Biden will meet China's Xi Jinping later today in a high-stakes sit-down as tensions brew between the two global powers. Both Beijing and Washington, they've confirmed the meeting, which since its announcement has managed to overshadow the upcoming G20 Summit. The two leaders are meeting for the first time in person since Biden took office and are expected to discuss a range of issues with the main focus on Taiwan, Russia's invasion of Ukraine and North Korea's nuclear ambitions.
I know I'm coming in stronger, but I don't need that. I know Xi Jinping. I spent more time with any other world leader. I know him well. He knows me. There's no, we have very little misunderstanding. We just got to figure out where the red lines are, and what are the most important things to each of us going into the next 2 years. And his circumstances changed, to state the obvious, at home. And so we're going to have a, I think, I've always had straightforward discussion. There's never any miscalculation about where each of us stand. And I think that's critically important in our relationship.
Now, on the eve of his meeting with Xi, Biden told Asian leaders in Cambodia that the United States communication lines with China would stay open to prevent conflict, with tough talks almost certain in the days ahead. The White House has said that both the leaders will also assess how to responsibly manage competition and work together where our interests align. From the chip market to the Taiwan crisis, both the United States and China have seen divisions deepen in the last 1 year. Xi's government on multiple occasions has criticized the Biden administration's posture towards self-ruled Taiwan, which Beijing considers its own, as it views the U.S.'s recent actions in the region as undermining China's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Biden and Xi have held 5 phone calls or video calls since Biden became president back in January 2021, and the last time they met was during the Obama presidency, where Biden was vice president. Washington has said that a joint statement is unlikely to be issued after the meeting, but did say that it could help stabilize the ties between the two nations. Now, for more on this, we're being joined by Edward Joseph from Washington, D.C., a senior fellow at Johns Hopkins University and a foreign policy analyst. Thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast.
Nice to be with you.
Now, of course, the first question, what do you think are some of the key things on the agenda? Biden and Xi are set to meet. What do you think are some of the main discussions that are likely to take place?
Well, the 3 main issues are known, of course. They will be Taiwan, North Korea, and of course Russia and its unprovoked invasion of Ukraine. Those will be the main issues. But the really interesting part of this is what President Biden alluded to in his comment when he said, I know I'm coming in stronger, but I don't need that. In fact, it's Xi Jinping who didn't need that. Xi Jinping did not need the timing of this meeting to come as President Biden rides a wave of completely unexpected political support in the United States that solidified his standing within the Democratic Party and within the United States. One of his rivals, Senator Elizabeth Ryan, said that this election victory, that's how it's perceived in the United States, an election victory, control of the Senate retained by the Democrats, is due to President Biden. And that does strengthen his hand. It strengthens President Biden's hands internationally with respect to China, because it also strengthens President Biden's hand as a leader of the West, that is, of the unquestioned leader of the West, of the European Union, in partnership with the European Union and with NATO against the war Russia's war in Ukraine, which China tacitly supports.
Right.
And that makes all the difference for this meeting with Xi Jinping. Please.
Right, absolutely. Now, we'd heard Antony Blinken earlier say that cooperation between the two was necessary on some global issues like climate change, health, security, food security. So what sort of cooperation do you think we can expect coming out of this? Because as I mentioned earlier, Biden did say that we've got to figure out where the red lines are. So what do you make of this?
Well, of course, they will. Those are wider global issues. Those are terribly important. Climate change and health. And they will look for opportunities to cooperate there. But those are not the issues that require red lines. The issues that require red lines for China, of course, is Taiwan. And President Biden has spoken repeatedly of his intention to defend Taiwan. And of course, when we talk about red lines, it's very difficult to draw them with Taiwan because the U.S. has the one China policy, which is founded on ambiguity, not on sharp red lines, but on ambiguity. And Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi crossed one of those red lines that China had drawn, insisting that she couldn't visit, and she did visit in August, and that created tensions with China. And again, President Biden has repeatedly stated that the United States will come to Taiwan's defense. So that's clearly for China. That will be a primary issue. North Korea's missile test, it's irresponsible behavior. That is a continuing issue. And again, I think President Biden will be appealing to Xi Jinping to recognize the reality of a very weak President Putin in Russia, who is only creating international crisis that China doesn't need. And he will be appealing to Xi Jinping to back off of that. But yes, again, they will look for areas where they can cooperate overtly, and that is with respect to climate change and in the health sector. Please.
Right, absolutely. Tensions have been at an all-time low between the two, and Taiwan is at the heart of this issue. Also, that being said, the United States has been pushing for an open and free Indo-Pacific. So how do you think these issues will likely fare in the discussions?
I think that they will not make much progress here, and I think the Biden administration has suggested and played down the expectations for this meeting. The main purpose here is to allow President Biden and President Xi Jinping to meet again. They know each other very well. They've met many times. It's to allow communication to continue, but there is no expectation whatsoever of any type of breakthrough on any of these issues, but perhaps a better sense of understanding, and in that sense, an improvement in international security, restoration of some communication that has been broken since the Pelosi visit to Taiwan, and I think signals here, very important signals here, that will go to Vladimir Putin in Moscow, that if he sees tensions even reducing a bit between the United States and China, that will be very bad news for Vladimir Putin, and coming at a time when he's showing increasing weakness in Ukraine, having to withdraw from the city of Kherson.
Right.
So that's the context that I see for this meeting. Not great expectations for any breakthrough, but any positive dynamics will be the benefit of China and the United States, and to the detriment of Russia. Please.
All right, Mr. Joseph, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast with all your insights on this.
You're welcome.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.